Hello, this tutorial covers editing and creating assemblies in Qrowd with the Visual Wiring Editor. Assemblies in Qrowd are a collection of software parts that can be wired together with the wiring editor to perform functionality, like the widgets that you find on the web top. You can access the wiring editor in two ways from the web top. The first is from this gear icon in the title bar area of the widgets. A second way is from the catalog. By right-clicking on assemblies, you can access the Edit Assembly link. Assemblies in Qrowd perform three basic types of activity. The first is the inputting of information. This can be from web-based APIs or from structured data like RSS feeds. The second activity, which is optional, is to process the information. This can be refinement of data or the mixing and mashing up of data. The third activity is to output the information somehow. Assemblies in Qrowd can be either visual or non-visual. Visual assemblies run entirely within the browser. Non-visual assemblies run entirely on the server and can be used to create new RSS feeds, for example. Qrowd also features sub-assemblies, which are a collection of parts that perform useful and reusable functionality. The part catalog contains lots of different parts. It is beyond the scope of this tutorial to walk you through each and every part. To learn more about them, use the help area down below. Every part has a link to a sample assembly that demonstrates using the part. You can also access part help from the question mark icon. A good source of input APIs from the web is at programmableweb.com. You can use the API tab and look at the APIs available around the web. As you can see, there are quite a few of them. All of these can be consumed within Qrowd. This particular assembly loads Flickr photos from their API and outputs them in the photo display. Let me execute the assembly to see what happens. As you can see, an error has been reported. Let's edit the assembly to see why. As you can see, this subassembly held a lot of different parts and made the topmost diagram a lot easier to view. Let's run this assembly again to see why the error occurred. This secret text part is complaining that a value does not appear. That is by design. Some APIs around the web require developer keys. This is because some APIs have limitations, such as rate limitations. That would prevent the API from being executed a certain number of times in a given time frame. That prevents overloading of their API services. In Qrowd, the secret text part can be used to contain developer keys to prevent sharing. That is what is happening here. If you want to use this API, you would need to go to this URL and obtain your own Flickr developer key. To work around this for now, I'm going to sign in with my account. Now when I run the assembly, it will load my developer API key and execute it. By clicking the Execute Assembly button, I have the ability to run assemblies entirely within the wiring editor. I can access assembly properties with this wrench icon to preview them. All changes take effect immediately. When I apply them, the assembly will re-execute. Let's take a look at editing assemblies. This particular assembly uses a Flickr photo subassembly and loads them into this output part. Let me show you how to load some eBay data. I will left click and drag a wire to the node. An important part of the visual wiring editor is the loading of information. To do that, you double click on parts to run the engine. That is to populate the drop-downs. This is a tricky portion of the wiring editor, and maybe a better design is possible, but for now you need to double click on the part to run the engine. In real time, the eBay API is being accessed, and now you can see that the drop-down is a lot wider because it has been populated with the information from eBay. This particular photo display part needs a path to a photo URL, so I need to find one. As you mouse over items in the drop-downs, you will get a preview of the information over here. I need to find URLs for photos. This looks like it here. I can verify that by looking at the data over here. I see that JPEG images are indeed in the data. You can also view data by parts by double-clicking on them in the editor and then accessing the data inspector. The engine is still running a second. Now the data inspector button is available. And this is showing the raw information from the eBay output. Now that I've selected the picture URL, let me execute the assembly again. And now what should happen is I should find eBay photos being populated in this photo zoomer. And they are. This is an important portion of Qrowd, and the ability to take different types of input from around the web and hook them up into different types of output parts. Let me replace this part with a different type of output part. Let's try this table. I will wire it together again. Again, I need to double-click on the part to load it with data. By double-clicking, the engine is re-executing and gathering the data from eBay. Now I need to fill in the drop-downs. Here, I'm going to output the eBay photo into a column. I'll give it a size. Let's see what happens. You can see the photos here. Looks like I made them too big. I will make them smaller. Even better, I will pick a smaller image. Let me also add a column. I will choose to show the item title. Give it a width, a little bit bigger, and execute it. Now you can see the title has appeared. Along with the smaller image size. The output parts in Qrowd are designed to be flexible and to allow for different types of input from different types of data sources on the web. That is the general idea behind Qrowd, to have a few number of highly configurable output parts and eventually a large catalog of input data sources from around the web. That concludes this tutorial.